complete revamp on the website. Introduced a mobile phone app as well. So now pushes out to everyone, all the users on the app when games are going on for the kids, the adults, first, second team, X, Y, and Z. Built the club shop into it so it can get a lot more traffic that way, and it seems to be working well. Now, where we're getting a bit stuck at the moment is the building the second team. We've not really been able to enter into that many fixtures this year because of the lack of players that we've got for the second team. A lot of the older players are coming in this Saturday for a game for the second team, but I think we need to try and promote and get something out there for a more sustainable second team, because some of the older players are, they're 40, 50 years old and they're just doing it because they kind of have to. So we're just trying to build on that, really.
What do you put the lack of numbers down to then? Is it just a lack of interest in the sport? Is it other priorities, or maybe influenced by COVID and stuff like that?
I personally think that is because the lack of visibility of Dukinfield as a club that it's had over the years. Bear in mind, I've obviously only been doing this since probably December. They had a Pitch Hero website which was not very well managed, not really been updated. The socials were very low in volume, and we've really bumped that up now massively. Putting a lot of information in the website, we're getting a few more sponsors in for the kids teams as well. So we're just trying to build a bit of traction that way. But obviously a lot of these things and organic traction does take a lot of time, certainly to get out there into the communities as well.
Yeah, definitely. So you just mentioned the junior side of things then. What is the junior section like? Is there a clear pathway into the seniors? Is it quite strong at the moment?
Well, my son is in the under-10, so they've got a pathway. They've got the what they call the Dinky Ducks, which is from 2 years old to 6. Then they'll go into the Ducky Wolves, which is the under-8s. Then they'll go into the under-10s and the under-14s, and then they'll go into the adult teams thereafter. And start training with them. So there is a complete clear pathway all the way through. From what I can see at the moment is certainly with the under-14s team, it's not majorly full of numbers, but I know the younger teams are. So there's a very much a clear pathway going forward. But I think there's definitely some old players that have played for the club beforehand. There's definitely people out there who probably don't know, because if we look at a competitor such as All Wingers Rugby Club, I know they have a very successful 1, 2 and 3 team, and they've got a big club, they've marketed it very well, they've had a very successful website, and that's where I'm trying to benchmark our success on, really, in trying to get the word out there.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the competitors then. You've got Aldwinians, you've got Ashton, but you've got a few clubs in the Tameside area. Well, I suppose just out of Tameside, you've got Glossop as well, so some big clubs there. Do you think, given the amount of clubs in the area, does that make it hard to attract new players?
I don't think so, because as you said there, you've got Ashton, who I know are fairly low on numbers at the moment themselves. You've got Allwingians, who are fairly big, and then you've got Glossop. So if you look at the whole borough of Tameside, which is fairly big, there's 3 or 4 clubs to cover the whole borough. I think it's just getting the name out there, really.
You're in the ADM First Division. Last time, look, you were second in the table. That's the first team. So, looks to be quite a strong season. What are the hopes and ambitions of the first team this season?
Well, with the first team is to get up to the top of the table, really. And the guys, if I'm looking at the fixtures, we're getting there week by week. We've not had any losses recently. It all depends on what the other teams and how many tries are being scored on this league to determine how far up the table they get. So with the second team, the last game that was played was back in November of last year, where we took an absolute pasting because as I said, you've got your older players out there, or you've got some guys who may be playing for the first team, and it's very difficult to be playing for 2 teams.
Yeah, rugby union's got quite an appeal because it's family orientated. They have good socials and stuff like that, and I suppose that is one of the biggest factors for new players wanting to join. So, if anyone was to listen to this conversation, what kind of socials do you provide at the club? Is it quite lively?
Absolutely, there's always something on every single weekend. So at the moment we've got the Six Nations on, So they have the Six Nations on in the bar. They have discounted drinks until England scores a try. They've got different events for the different teams. Upstairs in the function room, they have award ceremonies. It is very much a family-orientated environment. We really push for family and people to come down, not just to watch the teams that they're involved in, but to also watch the other teams as well. And it does happen quite a lot. So it's very much a very mixed club in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what's funding like for local rugby in the area? Do you receive a lot of funding, or is it primarily all by yourself through hosting functions in the social club and stuff like that?
They do get some funding off the RFU, to which is how much I don't know off the top of my head. I think they might get a little bit off the local council as well, but again, I don't know how much. But the majority of the funding for the individual teams, so for the kits and the shirts, all do come from external sponsors to the club.
Am I right in thinking that you've got a team based in the Isle of Man in that division, or is it in the Premier Division? That
I think that's in the Premier Division.
Is it right? I think it might be Glossops as well. I know that they face a team in the Isle of Man because they played them a few weeks ago. I was just going to ask, out of curiosity, how do you fund that? Is it just through players having to fund it themselves to get over there?
Well, each player puts it, they pay obviously a monthly fee, like we do with the kids' teams as well. They'll pay, I think it's about £10-15 a month, so it's not a major amount each month, but that will bridge any travel expenses. With regard to the Isle of Man ones, I have no idea how those clubs do it, because it's going to be a major cost to get a full rugby team over there.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll come from the actual league themselves that will give some additional funding to allow that team to be in the league. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of travelling yourself. Do you go to most away games via a coach?
We've got our own minibus.
Right, okay. I was going to say then, because coaches, they're not cheap, are they?
No, they're not cheap, and certainly with these emission bits coming in now, I think that's going to have to be taken into account as well. I don't know if the minibus falls within that criteria. A lot of the players do drive as well. There's always somebody there to give people a lift down to the different events that are on. As I said, I'm fairly new to this role at Dukinfield Rugby Club. I only went onto the committee back in December, and I've obviously taken the job of dealing with the website and all communications myself. So I've recently got in touch with Andy, and he's given us a lot of support. He's given me all the information I need. We're pushing for it. I think there's an event coming up very soon at Stamford Park where we're going to attend and try and push out a lot of bits there to the local community and get people coming down. At the next committee meeting, probably going to try and get an event sorted at the local club as well to showcase it and allow people to come round and see what it's all about.